Hey, what's up, you sexy bitches, and welcome back to this week's Weekly D. And today I have my good friend Lisette Krol on with me. We talk about her whole career, and my God, has she had an amazing career. We talk a lot about her career, her life in Venezuela, and her new life in Ireland. So I can't wait for you to listen to this podcast. I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, this is the Weekly D, because honey, if you ain't getting your D on the daily, you better at least begin it once on the weekly.
If you're not getting any and you want some tea, then come and join Dan up on the Weekly D. It's the Weekly D.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien, gracias. How are you, Lisette?
I'm very good. How are you? That was perfect Spanish, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good, right? So actually, I'm going to ask you a question. You know, gracias or gracias? Because it's spelled with a C, right? But is it pronounced, is it th?
No, because, in my country, I'm from Latin America. So we say gracias. And then people from Spain say gracias.
Ah, so I was saying it correctly before. So when I said gracias
both of them
before,
are good.
Okay, I thought one was wrong and one was correct. Oh, okay, so they are both technically correct.
Perfect.
Yay, I feel so fluent. So thank you so much for coming on and doing this podcast with me. You are a hard lady to pin down because you're so busy. But before we get into all of that and all of your career, because it's been an amazing career really, and it's still going like a wildfire, I want to know about where Lisette started. Where were you born? What is your pre-pole story? So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, so I'm 37. Oh God, this is a good start. Okay, so I was born in Venezuela. So 37. I know, 37 years ago, I was born in this beautiful country in Latin America. Venezuela, not a lot of people know where it is, kind of at the top of South America. Back in the day, it was absolutely paradise. Like, you can't imagine. Totally beautiful. Like, I used to live like maybe 1 hour from an amazing beach, like where you can just go, oh, let's just go on the weekend and bring your tent and then stay over. Like, more or less my childhood was like that. Like, it was seriously amazing. Yeah, like I went to a German school when I was younger, because I'm half German. My dad passed away, but he was German, and my mom super Venezuelan. So I grew up with like these really like different cultures, like the European. Like my dad was like long hair, like a hippie, play guitar, and my mom is like totally salsa dancer, totally Latin American, So I just got like these two crazy words together. But yeah, so Venezuela is very beautiful. How did they meet? Like, God, I actually don't know. I would like to ask that, but I don't think they want to share it.
You're kidding me.
So actually, there's a really long story that I think a few people maybe know or maybe don't know. Maybe I shouldn't share it, but unfortunately, like my dad had like a really kind of crazy childhood and then had to move to Venezuela. And I'm just going to make it short, maybe not share too much because it's a bit personal. But yeah, he just met my mom and stuff like that. So yeah, that's more or less.
That's how they met. That's amazing. So, and did you learn German as a language and stuff? I assume you had to because you went to a German school, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's amazing now, but since I was like 6 years old, I did like kindergarten. So like, it's like more or less like, your start. And then in the German school, you have like two different sides. You have like the Venezuelan side and the German side. So I went to the Venezuelan side, but you still have German actually 4 hours per week since like from the beginning, okay, of like, I don't know how you call it in Ireland, but like or even in UK, like preschool or something like that. Like, you're already learning, like, for example, I don't know, like, whatever, the hund, like, the dog or whatever, they're already like giving you like words and colors and stuff like that. And you're only 8, or 7 or whatever. And then after that, when you're 10, they start throwing you English. Then when you're 11, they start throwing you French. So it's one of those schools that they just want you to learn lots of languages. That is amazing. And I feel like actually my career, I feel like started as sports. I was a swimmer. So I was like more or less like a professional swimmer. So I was swimming before classes 4 times per week.
Hmm.
So it was really hard because I had to be in the pool like at 6:30 or sometimes 7 a.m. And then your classes start starting at 8:30. So we were very lucky that we had an amazing facilities in the school. So yeah,
Yeah.
that I feel like that's
So
more or less my career.
swimming for you was like your entry to sports and fitness, would you say?
Yeah, and I feel like that's why my shoulders are really strong and my back is really strong. And as well, I think my mom actually put me in swimming because I was asthmatic. So they always said like it's really good for people with breathing problems. And to be honest, I don't suffer from asthma anymore. But so yeah, I think like that was just a really good start.
So, what was it like growing up for you in Venezuela? Like, were you popular? I imagine Lisette Krol to be the popular girl at school, got on with everybody. Am I right?
Absolutely not.
Oh my
That's actually not
God.
really. No, to be honest, I was really into rock. Kind of, this is really weird, but I used to like wear really black clothes and stuff like that. So really, like I was listening to weird bands and really famous bands like Metallica, Limp Bizkit, Korn, like all that. And I think like that stopped like when I was like 14 or 13. And then I started like listening as well to Britney and Christina. So my brain was all over the place, like, like all these different stages. But I don't think I was like the popular one. I was really normal, but I was, my best friends were definitely older than me. So I was always with like the older crew instead of like
Uh-huh.
the people from my class. So yeah, I
And would
wouldn't
you
call it
say that's
popular.
because, was that because you were like a lot more mature, a lot at a younger age?
I think so. I think like even from the start, like I was, I don't know if mature is the word. Like I think I just met one of the boys. I had not been my boyfriend back then, and then he was like a little bit higher. And then I just became really good friends with this group, and we're actually still really good friends. That is great. Well, kind of. I wouldn't say good, but like we still are in touch. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. They were maybe 2 years older than me. So yeah,
So
no
talk
problem.
me through the stage where you decided that you were going to move to Ireland. What was the? I always and this is no offense by the way to anyone who lives in Ireland. You know when you just think, what made you pick Ireland of all places? Like when I think of countries, you normally think of the big ones. You think of USA, you might think of I don't know Australia, or you think of maybe even the UK. Like I don't know, you'd think of like the main sort of big countries. And what was the connection to Ireland?
Well, as I said, my dad moved to Ireland. Okay, so his wife back then speak Italian or English, so they were trying to find a place in Europe where the main language was English. So my dad applied to jobs in UK and Ireland, and then he found an amazing job in Ireland. And then actually he moved, and then I just moved after. To be honest, when they moved, I came just to visit once. Like I think it was 22 years ago. Okay, and I absolutely hated. Like I just couldn't really. I don't know. It was too cold for me. Like I never owned a jacket before moving to Ireland. So I actually had to buy a jacket here. I think it was actually spring, and I was wearing gloves, like or something stupid, and a hat, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's really nice today," and I'm like, "What? It's crazy!" And even my mom, when she comes to Ireland, she still wears gloves, and it's like summer. Like we're just not used to it. But yeah, that was more or less the start. Well, we moved because, of course, the situation of my country was just really bad. There's starting to be like wars and stuff like that, and it was really dangerous. I got robbed 3 times with guns in my face, 3 times. And it's really scary
Wow.
because the first time you just go, oh my god, you just have to give everything. There's a gun in here, and then you just go, oh my god, like what do I do? But I was very lucky that nothing really happened. Okay, but even like there were more like the second time we were four girls. Okay, and there were two guys with guns, and you already are thinking the worst. Like and then thank God they just needed money, and they run away. The third time was cops, actually the guards, like they were
Oh
like
my
robbing
God.
you as well, like so it was just getting a little bit too hard to live in there. And even loads of my friends, especially because they're like from like German schools or French schools, all like the European schools, they kind of became really good friends. So we all moved because we were lucky that parents were abroad, or we had a bit more knowledge of as well the language and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up moving to Ireland. The first year was really hard. I didn't have actually a German passport. That made my life so much harder. Even if I was German or half German, and I just ended up having like normal jobs. Like my first job was a nanny, so I was minding two kids of 1 year and a half and one kid of 3 years with Down syndrome, and I think I was getting paid €7 per hour, cash in hand. That was a year for
Wow.
a year. It was like, and I had to cycle to get to this place. It was like a 40-minute cycle, and when you hear that, it doesn't sound that bad. When you know you live in Ireland, it's like cycling in the rain and things like that. So it was actually really tough at the beginning. And I absolutely hated it. I was like, I hate this life. I had an amazing job in Venezuela where I was performing and stuff like that. And I just ended up having a year in Ireland that I was just like stuck in this house, minding kids. So it wasn't really exciting, but it was the beginning, like I had to like think, or I sacrifice a year and try to make money and then see what happened, or I live in a country where it's very dangerous.
Hmm.
And of course, I decided like, look, let's just see what happened. Let's give a shot to this country. And one thing that made me stay was I met these amazing people that did canoeing, kayaking. And I feel like that was my actual love for Ireland. So I just, as a swimmer, I always like sports, and being like
Hmm.
in Ireland, not be able to do sports or perform, it was just like absolutely horrible. So I met these people. They had this amazing canoe club. Okay, where it was actually like the amazing rivers. So I got to visit the most amazing rivers in Ireland. I went to like the west of Ireland. Like you can't imagine, it was just amazing. And I come from a big city, so for me to feel so welcome by this group and show me rivers and show me how to canoe, it was just a dream. So that's why I stay in Ireland. That was the main reason why I stayed in Ireland at the beginning.
And you said that you were performing when you were in Venezuela. So tell me about that, because so you were already performing. It was acro, wasn't it, in Venezuela? You used to perform, right?
Well, actually, it was more like we call it party for. It was more or less like a theater company, where they were.
Ah,
By the way, I was blonde before. Okay,
I
so they
can't
were
even imagine
looking.
you
Yeah,
blonde.
I know. Yeah, I actually me neither. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, I was blonde before. Okay, so this company they were looking for girls that were blonde. Okay, to do like princess characters. So I was like Cinderella and like things like that. So I had to wear like these
Oh,
Cinderella dresses and learn scripts. Okay, and it was like more like parties for kids or for adults as well. Like they wanted like people just to be characters, okay, and learn scripts and
hmm.
then act a little bit. And to be honest, at the beginning, I was really bad, really bad. But they just train you, and then I was working there. I was 16, okay, and I was working in there for like a good bit. And I met these boys, okay, part of the theater group where they were doing acro yoga, and then they were showing all of
Cool.
us to do tricks, so that way we could do tricks in the shows. So, for example, if it was Spider
Cool.
Man, okay, so we will actually come down in like upselling, okay, as Spider Man or
Nice.
Spider
Okay.
Woman or whatever. Exactly, and then we will do like acro tricks and stuff like that for the kids, and it was actually a great job. And I was
That's really
earning
cool.
a lot more than what I was earning in Ireland for sure. Like a lot more.
Wow. But then
Yeah,
it's the whole like compromise between money and safety, I assume, at this point, because it was like, yes,
exactly.
you're being paid good money. So, but you, am I correct in thinking you had an acro partner in Ireland who was a guy, or was that
Yeah, I had
in
actually two.
Venezuela?
Yeah, so unfortunately he moved. Okay, actually I was talking to him a week ago because I still have like he was. Okay, so I start again. So when after a year, okay, I met this guy, Venezuelan guy, okay, where he was performing in a club called Spirit. Okay, this club doesn't really exist as Spirit. It's called the Academy in Ireland now. Okay, and they used to have loads of shows, like, and it was like the most amazing DJs used to come. It's like a massive club in Ireland. It's in Dublin. So they were looking for go-go dancers, okay, and then I just apply as a go-go dancer, and I said, by the way, I do acro too, so I can show you some tricks, okay. So this guy and me, we start training together, He's, by the way, gay. Start training together. Okay. And then I don't know what to say that, but
well, I mean,
yeah, we
I
start
don't know
training
why you had to
together.
say that, because I think literally every man that's in your life, except for your future husband, Neil, is gay. Am I correct?
Correct.
Pretty much.
So, and actually the one after as well was gay. So anyway, we start training together, and we just, to be honest, it wasn't really like hard acro. It was like really simple tricks. Okay. But they did the job, because you do go-go dancing and suddenly you do like a shape, and then people were, lovely. Like, amazing. And so that, I felt like that was like the start, okay, of my career in Ireland in a way. And then one of the drag queens, okay, saw us, okay, or I think he was already friend of someone. Anyway, and then he was already working in the gay scene, and then he said to me like, "Oh, you want to dance in here?" I was like, "Oh yeah, of course!" Like, whatever, wherever we go together. It's gonna be loads of fun. So yeah, we end up like kind of go-go dancing for the drag queens. There was like this club called, by the way, called the Dragon, that doesn't exist anymore. And then we end up as well dancing in the George, that is one of the famous clubs in Ireland. And we just became really good friends with the drag queens. They're lovely. They're seriously, like, I prefer big time to go dance in the gay scene than in the straight scene. Big time.
Of
Like,
course, yeah. Must be so much more fun. I actually need to ask you about this, because so it was through the drag queens that you started working so much on the gay scene, because I've noticed you do a lot of work, like the George book you all the time to perform at their like shows and stuff. So who is your, like, do you have like a contact there that has kind of made you part of the family there? Because they always book you at that massive gay club, don't they?
yeah, so well, there's a few. Okay, so Victoria's Secret, that's her drag queen name. Okay, I feel like she was my first. Okay, and
Amazing.
well, yes, I don't know if she has a regular time now. I think maybe she's on Fridays or something like that. Then we have Davina on Thursdays, and then Veda on Wednesdays. Okay, so Veda and Terry actually was their kind of show. They run like Strictly Come Pole Dancing. So they just pick like 4 or 5 professional dancers. So usually it's like Terry, me, Sarah, Marcin, maybe, and Lena. Okay, mainly it's like the 5 of us or whatever. And then the drag queens as well do like some tricks in the pole and stuff like that. But mainly it was Victoria. Victoria was like, we used to perform maybe 3 times per week with her. So like in different clubs,
Right.
okay, or even in like corporate events, and we used to be like our backing dancers. So now I don't do, even now I have a show with her like in a month. And now as a pole dancer, I have a pole show. So 2 pole shows. And I always pick like songs like that the gay scene will really appreciate. So it's not about Lisette Krol, dubstep of the warrior or whatever. No, it would be like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion,
I
or
know, yeah. I've seen, every time I see it, I'm like, this girl knows her audience. She knows what the
yeah.
gays want. Like
Look,
the big like crescendo of the song will come on, and you'll do a big move. The gays will go wild. Those videos make me live when I see them on your stories.
but you know what? I have to say, why would I do another song? Like, I mean, I feel like this is an amazing opportunity. I actually love Whitney Houston. I love Celine Dion. I love these big songs. Every time they come up, I'm like, I know them, like, and doing that probably in our world, it would be a little bit like cliche, or like, unless it's like pole theater or something like that, like, but it just doesn't sound right for me to do it in the pole scene, but it sounds amazing to do it in the gay scene. It's like, yes, this is the time, so I can do these songs, and why not to take advantage?
That's amazing. So tell me the timeline of when. So the main thing really. Let's talk about the fact that you are a multiple world champion. You and Terry have done doubles and won world championships many times. Where did you and Terry meet, and how did that relationship form, and how did you become world champions together? Can you tell us about that journey?
Yeah. So we met in Gay Pride. So she was performing a pole show, okay,
Stop
and then I was
appropriating
performing.
our culture.
I feel like I'm the gayest straight person in the
Straight
world.
person. Literally.
So we met, of course, in Gay Pride, okay, and then she was in a pole show. I was like dancing with the drag queens. I choreographed a crazy routine for for the drag queens. I remember we used to have like, so the drag queen used to have this massive skirt, and then we put these like strings under her. We came out from her skirt, and then we have these strings, and then these little plastic things, and there's Lady Gaga's on telephone. So we were like telephone with it was actually totally crazy. But that's it. That's that world. The more crazy and the more fun, the better. Loads of colors. We were doing acro as well. It was all over the place. But like, anyway, it was really fun. Terry and me, we met, okay, and then instantly we just start talking, and we said, "Oh my God, let's train together. I can show you acro, and you can show me pole and stuff like that." And I think we just start training. Of course, she had already a studio, so we went to her studio. She showed me some tricks. I started doing her classes, and it was going really well. And then we said, like, "Oh my God, they are." Oh yeah, sorry. We competed at the All Irelands. The first, I think it was called the All Ireland. No, it was called something else, okay? Anyway, something Irish Pole Championship, okay? We actually made second. So we didn't even win on our first one, okay? And we were doing like double handspring. I think she was hanging from my Allegra, but I didn't have an extended Allegra. But I don't remember. Oh yeah, I think I was holding in a seat. We did like loads of tricks, okay? But we were just starting. And then we saw the World Championships, okay? The IPSF. And then I told Terry, like, "Oh my God, why don't we apply for this? Like, if we don't win, it's fine." Like, the last thing that we were thinking was winning. We just wanted to take part of it. And I remember we didn't have money at all. Okay. And I'm going to be serious. I think Terry definitely remembers this. I remember everything about this first championships. We were doing 1 year. I was doing pole for 1 year and a bit. Okay. She was already with the studio and stuff like that. We had like probably between both of us less than 500 euros, a lot less. Okay. So for someone to go for two people for 500 euros, you need accommodation, you need this. It's not that much money. So Fitwork, of course, did our costumes. We were wearing loads of tan. That was not allowed, by the way. No one can take this prize away from us anyway. But like, we were wearing loads of tan. Okay. Anyway, we end up having like, the routine ready to go. We went to IPSF. We performed on the Friday, and I remember Ben Decade was there, and Ben Decade said, like, "Guys, you did really well, We didn't know Ben Decade back then. I think we met you in IPSF as well.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure we met there as well on your first one.
Yeah, 2013, long time ago. Okay, so we did the Friday rehearsals, we did the Saturday, and then we got to the finals, and we were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Like, we're at the finals. Last thing we were thinking is like we were going to win the world. Okay, so we performed the last one. I mean, the Sunday, there were 10 doubles. And then we were watching everybody. We were so amazed about everybody. We were like little kids just watching like, "Oh my God, everybody's amazing." And we, of course, watched soloists. That was when as well, Olga Trifonova just came and did these crazy tricks, and all the kids. And we were like, everybody was just watching like, anyway. So it was really funny because we thought like the South Africans are going to win. Then the Argentinians are going to be second. Then we were already counting who were going to be first, second, and third. Okay. And then they call this third and second, and we're like, they're ready to like watch who's going to be the first. And then they call our names. And then I remember I just started crying like, "Is that us? Is that us? Oh my God, it's us." Like, And then, yeah, it was amazing. Like, we became world champions. And I remember arriving back home and everybody was like with banners. "Oh my God," like, so it was so cool. I think that's our best world championship experience ever.
I remember, I don't know whether you remember this, because obviously back then, do you remember, like, lots of us were still trying to navigate what IPSF was, how the scoring system works, how the code of points stuff. I mean, now you've got coaches who will literally coach you on it, but back then, they didn't really have that. Yeah. It was quite small back then. And then you won it. You won it again? Did you win it twice, the IPSF?
3 times. Well, IPSF, we won the first year. Then the second year after, the year after 2014, we made second. Belen and Joaquin won. That I was so happy about them. They're just amazing. By the way, if you want to see a new amazing routine, Belen Sarah just won Polar Italy. You need to watch
Polar,
that. I continue.
She's amazing.
It's so amazing. She's
Well,
just
actually,
unreal.
hold on.
And
I
it
have to
makes
tell
me,
you a funny story about. I have to tell you a funny story about Belen because so I messaged Belen. I was like, "Oh my god, you are like I just love what you're doing." I was like, "I want to invite you to come and teach in my pole camp." She's like, "Oh, okay, that'd be amazing." I was like, "Cool." I was like, "So what airport do I need to look at your flight?" She told me the airport, and I was like, "I've never heard of that part of Spain before. Let me just look it up." She was like, "Dan, I'm not in Spain." I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I'm in
she's in
South
Argentina.
America." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, fuck." So it was really embarrassing because I was like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't realize you were so far away. I thought she was in Spain. So I thought I'll be able to get her there really easy." But I was like, "There's no way I can get you from South America. It's so far." Getting people here as well from South America is so hard because of the visa situation also. But I was so sad. I was like, "Oh, I thought you were in Spain." But yeah, so I love her.
You know
She's
what? I
just
feel
so
like now
creative.
that so creative and there's so many, and I actually really would love to have this as a project for next year, but there's so many amazing South American pole dancers, okay, that it would be so amazing to just give them the opportunity to teach in Europe, because not only they're creative,
Mm,
they're seriously amazing teachers. I had an amazing opportunity to go to Argentina, Mexico to judge, and every time I go there, I try to train with them and just even hang out with them, and it's just so inspiring. Like, and of
mm.
course, the European crowd that wouldn't know them, or if they know them, they don't know that they can come in here. And to be honest, the flights are not that expensive if you really book them in advance, or if you have at least a few people. For example, if you want to invite
Mm-hmm.
Belen, I'd be very happy to have her in my studio too. So like sharing things, but it would be great to have to give them that opportunity, you know. So
I think, yeah, I totally agree with you actually. I actually feel like it would be really cool to kind of organize a camp with, like you said, all of the South American pole dancers. I think that the reason why it doesn't happen so often is because they find it very hard to get visas for Europe. South
mhm.
America, they struggle with being turned away. So it's not as easy as coming from other countries. That's one thing I've always noticed. I've noticed whenever it's South America, there's always issues when it comes to visas. They find it super hard to get the visas to come here. So it's never just really the flight. The flight's normally the easiest part to book. It's trying to get the visas and all those things sorted, which
Yeah.
is super sad. But yeah, I mean, I would love to go and do like a little mini tour of South America to just go and see all these studios.
Yes,
Is that where Felipe Mendoza is? Yeah,
yes. I was just about to say there's
Chile.
people like Felipe, there's Cabo Arro, Gabriela, that she's amazing. There's Belen. That actually,
Mm.
there's a lot of Venezuelan pole dancers, and to be honest, they're actually based in Europe now because they all left as well. Actually, in UK, there's an amazing one. Okay, that is competing now in a UK championship. There's loads of like amazing South American, but
Who is
I think like
that? Who is
Argentina
that?
has such an amazing level. Sorry.
Is the UK one? Is that George?
Yes. Well, he's
Yeah, I might
her
say.
boyfriend. No, yeah.
Yeah, his boyfriend lives here. But is that how you pronounce his name? Because it's spelled with a Y, but it's you say George, right?
No. But wait,
You
I'm gonna just I have to double check
ah,
where I have no internet. I keep forgetting what his actual name is because there's so many of them. No,
well,
Jorge.
it's
But there's another one.
stop it. No, is it not? I've been calling him George this whole time. Stop it. I'm sure he has responded to George because it's spelled Yorge or something like this. And I thought, well, it's not going to be
Guillermo? Is it not
York.
Guillermo?
No, but yeah,
No, no.
I'm
I
gonna
have to
have to
double
message him
check
and
that.
ask now. But why are the South Americans so freaking insane? Like when you think of like people like Jorge, George, I'm not sure what his name is, think Gabareo, Belen, why are they're like next level good? How?
But you know what? You say that the same, and you have people in Europe that are next level as well. Like, I think
Who?
every
Name
country
some.
has like, well, we know, for example, Bendike is just like, like she's just good at everything. Like, there's a lot of people, like, especially the Italian. For example, the Italians right now, I feel like they have a really good level. Every time I teach in Italy, I always teach really hard tricks.
Mm,
And I think as well, for example, in Argentina, they have an amazing federation. And you know what I find it that, for example, we don't have this in Ireland that I wish we did, like, because to be honest, we're really bad at championships. We only have two or something like that. and we have no federation or anything, but they have a lot of owners that they will do championships and that would coach people as well. Now, like for example, Belen goes to a championship and she has a coach, she has a nutritionist, she has like, all these little things. Okay. If I go to championship, I was like, can someone please? I mean, I'd be very happy if someone can take care of at least my classes, and I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah,
So at least I have time to train.
Yeah, but this is the difference, I think, is that especially for people like Belen who is like world champion level, this is the difference that, this is the reason. I bet you any money if back in the day when I was younger, if I had a nutritionist and I had a coach and I had all these things, like you said, I was just happy if I could get some cover for my classes so I could freaking train. That was like a win for me. But yeah.
Hey, so sorry to interrupt your podcast. I just wanted to hop on really quickly and just tell you about one of our new sponsors for this week's podcast, and it is Hustler Heels. Look at these. If you are watching on YouTube or you've got Spotify and you can see the video, look how gorgeous these amazing heels are. Hustler Heels are a very new brand, and if you know Grip and Glow, it's owned by the same person, so you're going to get good quality and you're going to get a really good customer service. But how cute are these heels? Like, I've not seen heels that look like this. The detail on them is amazing. The back with the lace and stuff, it's just so pretty. So I definitely recommend you just go and check out Hustler Heels. You can check them out on hustlerheels.co.uk. They got lots of different designs and they're coming out with lots of new ones too. So definitely a brand you need to check out. And with all these amazing heel brands that we have now, we're just going to see the quality getting better and better. And that's so evident in these heels because the quality of them is just amazing. It's literally perfect. It's just so beautiful. Like the detailing on these is just gorgeous. So if you haven't already, get on your phone, go onto the internet, go and check out hustlerheels.co.uk. Let's get back to the episode.
What do you think about the pole industry now as it is? Like, what do you think of it as opposed to when you first started?
Oh, yeah, definitely changed. But I don't know if I will say, because a lot of people say always negative things. So I think definitely changed, especially after COVID. Okay. So there's a new generation of people that are more known. And I can only guess it's because Instagram got more famous or TikTok or all these. So of course, when we started, like if we were looking at something, would be YouTube or Facebook and Facebook was really new. We didn't have access to all these songs that are kind of popular or anything like that. So I have a feeling that, of course, Instagram and TikTok just changed a lot of that. I even feel like even in workshops, people back then were a bit more present, okay, in the way of like, for example, I remember one time, I won't say what school, but I was teaching a workshop and I could still feel like people were on their phones. They were just filming me, but at the same time, like they were just I think everything was a bit more present back in the day. Like there were less people on their phones. Like I remember having so many conversations with people, and then Instagram started blowing. Okay, and it's almost like, do you mind putting your phone down so we can have this conversation? Or do you want to just put your phone in airplane mode just so that we can train together? Like, I feel like it changed in that way. And I even feel like even people, if people that are like very well known, they don't need to be world champions or champions or anything like that. They just need to be very good at their social media,
Yes.
I mean,
I feel like, I talk a lot about that anyway. I talk a lot about how social media has really changed the game. And back in the day when you and me used to do workshops, when we first started teaching them, we only did it because we were winning competitions. It was never because of social media, because social media just meant nothing back then. So nowadays you can create a name and a brand for yourself and an income really if you wanted to online just by being good on Instagram. I think the only thing I would say as well, actually, one thing that you mentioned was workshops. Yeah, you're totally right. My lesson plans back in the day were so much different in the sense that it would have been okay to have taught a class where people didn't necessarily get everything, but they'd have stuff to take away and learn. But now we live in this, I don't know if you agree with this, we live in this fast kind of like people need the trick now. They want a photo of it now and they want to have it on Instagram by the evening. Do you know what I mean? So if you teach a whole workshop and people don't get at least one thing, they leave so disappointed. But there was days when I did workshops back in the day with Janine Busby, I don't think I got anything, but I took it away and I worked on it. We just don't do that anymore. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like even when I do my workshops, I mean, I still, for example, I have a workshop that is deadlifts so it's contour your deadlifts or lifts, okay? And I know that not everybody's gonna get it, so I designed that workshop that people can take like drills and how to train it, and as well like easier things. So it took me a while to design workshops because as you said, I don't want people to, oh, I didn't get anything in the class, okay? And I was like, I would as well probably feel like, not great if I didn't get anything in the class. But as you said, like I remember doing like Marion Cramp's Rainbow Marchenko class, okay? And I was like, oh God, and even Marcin was doing the class that he's definitely not flexible. But like, we were very happy to be there because we just wanted to know how you do it, like even if you don't succeed at it, and we were very happy about it. We were like this. And I remember Marion Cramp, she was teaching my students, she said like, guys, no phones, okay? I want you to be present. And I remember I was so present. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I forgot that the phone existed. I forgot that I had to take videos. I actually don't think I have videos of me on that workshop, but I seriously remember everything. Like I still remember everything that she said in here because I was seriously like listening like a little kid, like, Yeah, I feel like things change. And as you said, when I prepare my workshops, I always have to prepare things that I know they will get and give a little bit of challenge at the end and things like that. So
that's kind of what I like about Marion. She's a bit of an old soul, isn't she? It does not surprise me at all that she told everyone to put their phones away. And
I love that.
I would love to do that, but you know what it is? I just feel like when I teach workshops, I just want to people please, which of course is always the way it is. And I just want people to have fun and be happy. And if it means taking photos on their phone, then of course do it. I mean, one of my workshops is called Picture Perfect, where people have to take pictures because it's all photo poses. So it's basically things that you can do for photo shoots is what the workshop's for. And so for that one, obviously you need your phone out. But I understand what you mean. Like I hate that, like, when people are just stood around the room, they're all just recording you, teaching you move, but they're not really engaging with you or asking questions because they're just looking at their phone and recording you, just like record. And the funniest part I find about that is that, and I don't know about you, but 90% of the time, I don't ever look back at those videos. So I just stopped doing that. In workshops, I just stopped bothering. I just thought, I'm not going to record. I never look back at it, ever.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I actually have done loads of my friends, because especially on camps, okay, I always try like to use the moment that I'm going away for camps, okay, and do my friends workshop because it's such an amazing opportunity to be a student. And then I never actually video the instructor. Like I think, and nothing but it. I actually, even in my workshop, I always tell them like, you're more than welcome to video me. Just don't put them on Instagram. I actually seriously don't have a problem with that. But I just personally wouldn't do it because I'm really, really happy to have the experience of being in their class and take everything. And even like spotting people, I will help. Or even having the opportunity to be spotted, I'll be super grateful because I don't have that opportunity all the time. So I think like being like record, or if I record, I will record myself like doing the trick, so I remember what I did. Okay, but
yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel like I'm the same. So I want to move the conversation on to like present day, kind of like nowadays. So you're getting married soon, and obviously I know that because I'm coming and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. But what's the plan for you? I always like to ask this question of like, what's your 5 or 10 year plan? Like, where do you see Lisette in like the future? Like, where do you see yourself going? Where are you thinking?
Well, there's a lot that I want to do, and I feel like I knew that this question was going to come. And actually, yesterday I was thinking, I know that he's going to ask me something like this, and what am I going to answer? Because there's so many things, okay? And I feel like COVID only stopped like 2 years ago, and I'm just trying to go to where I wanted to be like before COVID. And even before that, I had so many problems with passports and things like that. And now I feel like this is amazing. I have everything I wanted, and now I feel like I can start going a little bit higher, you know. And that doesn't mean like winning world championships. Just even living the life. Like even now, for example, I'm so happy. Of course, I'm getting married, so I cannot be more happy than that. My studio survived COVID, so I'm super happy, and we're still going strong. So I'm very happy with that. We bought a house, we have a dog, so I can't believe like all this just happened, and now I'm like, wow, this is all I really wanted before, and now I have it, and now where do I go? You know, so you kind of like got all these goals that you actually managed to get, so it's great. And of course, things that Neil, of course, wants kids. Okay, so like we said, definitely we want to have kids. So we said after the wedding, but the only thing that happens, like I still want to have a career, and this is so hard because I got everything that I have, but now I'm stuck in this place where great, now I can take advantage that I have all this, and maybe I can put more time in my career that I didn't have before, and kind of use all these things that I have now, like a passport that I can travel or that I can compete wherever I want, or but at the same time now I'm in that time of my life where I should be thinking about family, so I'm pretty stuck now. Like you know,
But do you though? I mean, you're still quite young. I mean, I don't know what the time scale is for like having kids, but does it need to be now, or can it be like could you do it in 10 years' time if you wanted to, or would it be too late? I don't know how that
no,
works.
I don't think I would like to wait along, okay, because I'm really excited about having kids in fairness. Like, you know, but I do have a few contracts, okay, in like theater plays and things like that that I really want to do. Like we were going to go to New York this summer. Unfortunately, it got moved to March. So I wanted to do that one and then get pregnant. So now I'm going to have to wait a little bit or maybe not, you know, like things happen as well. You just never know. So I feel like I wouldn't like to wait more than now. Like I mean, maybe like a few months and that's it. Like you know, because I still want to be a young mom, and I'm very inspired about all these pole dancers around the world that got pregnant and they're like having the kids and they're still doing pole, and I want to be one of those as well. Like so, I think it's very inspiring as well.
Yeah, I think,
So yeah, but it's
but
a little bit scary. I'm not gonna say that it's not. You know.
But having a baby now, I find like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's stopping anything. It only puts it on hold for a very small period of time, it seems. Like, look at Bendy Kay, like she bounced back so quick. I mean, Sarah
Mm.
Scott as well, like, I don't think she's doing as much as she was, but she's definitely back doing a lot. And I just saw that
I think
Michelle
yeah, I
Shimmy as
think
well,
you're
she's still doing a lot. And it's really impressive, actually.
It's really impressive, and don't get me wrong. When I say this, it's like but I know because I have like conversation now with them. I mean, with some of them, okay, and it's not as easy as they make them look, you know. And it is a little bit
Mm,
scary. Not that I don't want to do it, okay, but it is a little bit scary because things does change, you know. Like you do have to sacrifice some stuff, like you know, and it's not like you have to put everything on hold, but you do sacrifice things and other things are priority, you know, like maybe some part of your training is not going to happen the way you want it because you need to go and take care of your kids. So it does change, like, and it's not
for
easy.
sure.
And they make it
Yeah.
look so easy, but it's not, like, you know.
I always think like in a way I'm so lucky that I can't actually give birth to children because I'm one of the very few pole dancers that doesn't get affected by that. Like even if I wanted to have kids, I could adopt kids and it wouldn't stop me from necessarily being physical. Do you know what I mean? So I
Mm.
always think, God, that's actually I'm very lucky in that sense because obviously most pole dancers, if they have a baby, they've kind of got that minimum period where they have to be out of action and then they've got to get back into it again. And it's freaking hard. Like, I mean, I take my hat off. I mean, Annie Norris, I feel, has been very open
Mm.
about her journey and the struggle that she
Yeah.
had. And some have like bigger struggles than others. And I think it's important saying that because anyone who's listening to this is like, oh, I didn't bounce back. Like, absolutely don't
Yeah,
worry because
exactly.
it's like a lot of professional pole dancers have bounced back, but also a lot of professional pole dancers didn't bounce back so quickly either. So but sometimes we don't always see those. We just see the Bendy Cates or, you know, the Michelle Shimmies and we think, oh my God, like that's crazy. They're doing this so quickly. But yeah, I followed like you do, people like Annie, who was really honest about her journey.
Mm.
And I really,
I
yeah,
read
it must
Annie
be
as
so
well, and
hard.
yeah, I read
Yeah.
actually Annie as well, and a few other people, like you know, and that's why I feel like I mean, as I said, it's scary, but not in a really bad way because I feel like Annie's so inspirational, not only to share that with the world, okay, to now see, like, even I watch her videos now, and I'm like, every time she comes to my feed, I'm like, I'm just so happy she's still doing pole, and she looks absolutely amazing. And I think she won a competition earlier, and I was even so much more happy about her. Like, so it's amazing. But like Neil and me, we had this conversation, like, how amazing is that you can make a human being out of your body? It's just still like, to me,
It's
it's like a
nuts.
miracle. Like, it's like, it's
It's
insane. Like,
crazy.
and then it is as well. It needs a lot of sacrifice. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
as someone just arrived.
Sorry, someone just arrived. Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
okay, don't
No,
worry,
but it's
that's
okay.
fine.
It's gone.
Okay, no, don't worry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's just like such a crazy thought to really even think that, like you said, a human person can be created inside a body. I mean, do you ever think about, like, and this is kind of a deep question, like, do you ever think about the future and where pole plays a part in it? Like, do you think you'll always do it, or do you think you would like to, at one point, have a time where you don't do pole, maybe you go to another career or something else? Do you ever think, or like maybe just be a stay-at-home mum type situation? Like, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I did, and then definitely I would like to do pole forever. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
still
sure.
I still love it so much. Maybe this could change in a few years, but for now, I want to do pole forever. Like, and I still wake up and I'm so excited to go to the studio and train, or try to train, or see people, or like, I still teach so many classes, and I don't get really bored teaching classes, because there's always something new when this happens. I'm being very lucky that my energy level is still really high, that I can teach loads of classes, and I still can train, and I think, like, that just comes with years of experience. So no, I'm very lucky, and I think, like, people forget that, because I have a lot of conversation with not only pole dancers, with aerialists as well, and then our community is really open with teachers, with people that want to perform, and people that are performing and teaching at the same time. We're very open with that. I feel like the aerial world is a little bit different than us. And then even sometimes, like, they just tell me, like, oh, they said, how can you do that? You teach like 15 classes per week plus privates, running the business, and then you train as well, and then you want to do this performance. And I'm like, well, like, I'm pretty lucky to be having the job that I have, so why not? Oh yeah, I just prefer to perform only because I need to save my energy for performing. Well, you can actually do that. That's great. I cannot afford that. Like, I want to have a house, so I need to pay for my house. I need to pay for the place where I train, so I need to pay for the rent. I need to do this. So some people have that opportunity to be able to be just the performers. That's great. That's not
Uh-huh.
me, unfortunately. But fortunately too, like, I feel like I got in my mind, like, I have to say, I'm pretty lucky to be in this world right now, and have all this.
You're just lucky that your body is able to actually keep up with that amount of work. Like they said, like, they can only perform because they need their body to be able to, perform. But you can still perform and teach workshops and stuff. When we've talked about it for years. I mean, even since I first met you, I was like, how the hell do you do so many hours of classes and stuff and privates? And it's crazy, really. I mean, what's your body like in terms of getting injured and stuff? Like, is it pretty, like, injury
Well,
prone or not at all?
no, I do have to be honest. I have loads of old injuries for being stupid more than anything. So, like, I have, for example, like an old, like, ACL. Well, actually not stupid. That actually was like an accident, of course. Like, my ACL is gone and my meniscus on my left knee, and I haven't repaired it, and it's been like that for the last, God, I don't know, 8 years maybe. And I'm really good with conditioning, so I'm very lucky that, like, I actually remember when that happened a year after. I was feeling really down about it because I couldn't do things like flips, or I was really scared of trying new things, or hanging on my left knee, or things like that. So I ended up, like, joining the gym, and I remember I couldn't even do lunges. I was, like, really annoyed about this. Okay. And then I met, like, the personal trainer that I have now, and that really helped me. Like, today I went to
Sexy
the gym and I
Paul.
squat 100 kilos. Like, that is crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. Not only, like, the fact that my body can do that, and my body can do that with this injury, but it took me so many years to get my legs so strong that I can still work really amazing with them. Like, and I'm now, for example, in my classes, there's 3 classes per week mainly 2/3 that I keep forever. And I actually teach those classes because I want to do the classes that are like active flexi legs and back bends. And the reason why I do them is because the warm up is so long. It's like 40 minutes warm up, and always make me feel so good to do the warm up. And it's not a warm up that you go jumping jacks. It's like a really slow warm up, and then you use your body not only like to stretch like and breathe. It's like very active. So every time I do that class, I feel great. Every time I don't do that class, I feel crap. Like simple. My body just knows you need to have these type of stretches in your life weekly. So it should be like, it shouldn't be like I have to do it. It should be part of your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
really helped me with things. Okay, the same with my classes. My classes and the same. The warm up is choreographed and the conditioning is choreographed. So my students probably do this every week, but like, and me too. So it makes me do the warm up all times. So I will never teach a class without a warm up, and it's choreographed. I have no choice. Like, even if
Yeah.
I'm tired, I'm doing the warm up. I have to because my students have to follow me. So like, I think like made having all these like things in my classes really helped me to keep my body in shape. Not only in shape, because doesn't mean that you have to have a six pack. Like to make sure that you warm up before doing pole. Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God. So many people don't warm up enough before they do pole. Actually, feel like that's why a lot of people get injured so easily. It's because they just don't warm up properly. And I only realized that really when I got older, that I was like, if you don't warm up, your body's just everything hurts. Like I can do it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when someone says, "Oh, can you do a handspring?" I'm like, well, I mean, I could, yeah. So I could do one now, and I would do it. But sometimes I come down and be like, oh God, that really aches because I've just not warmed up for it. But I wanted to, because we're coming to the end, I wanted to go over this because I feel like it's a really important question to ask. We've talked about a lot of the amazing things that have happened in your career, the amazing life you've had. And it's been, I mean, we've not even covered really half of it. But I want to know about bad times in your life and things that you learned from. And I wanted to talk about COVID and how you got on during the COVID period. Because like you said, it was touch and go of whether your studio would have survived, and you managed to get it through.
Mm.
How was that experience for you, and how did you get through it?
Oh, this was seriously amazing and not amazing at the same time. So I remember, and I'm sure you got this as well, like when that hit, okay, that we just didn't know what to do. The first thing I was thinking, oh my God, I have to close my studio. We don't know, maybe for a little bit. So we didn't know how long. And then I was just thinking the rent of my studio, first, my studio, as you know, it's massive. I won't
It's
say the rent,
huge.
how much it is, because it's a lot of money. It's in Dublin city center. And you don't think about the
One
rent
million
only. It's like rent,
euros.
1 million. Yeah, that's exactly, sorry. That's exactly what it is. 1 million. So that's the first thing I was thinking, wow, I'm gonna lose this, and not only you need to think about that, like you need to think about refunding people as well, because we are not teaching classes and not everybody has
Mm-hmm.
internet at home. So there was a lot of that. We refund money. We actually had canceled a camp that I'm doing now, that thank God it got sold out straight away. But back then as well, it was sold out. We had to refund a lot of money. And I was just thinking, okay, what do I do? And I remember I was telling Neil, like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to start with Zoom, like everybody's doing it. So then I set up all this, like I'm sure you did as well. I was teaching maybe 8 classes per week from my house, from my living room, with Mac kind of getting into the front of the
I know,
classes.
because I took some of the
But it was,
classes.
yeah, it was amazing. I remember one flexibility class had 120 people, and it was all my students, and students from around the world as well. So it was amazing. But what it got me very depressed is like all this money that I was getting, I had to pay still the rent with that money. So I was making all this money, and yes, I could have, if I didn't have Tribe, like it would be crazy. But God, I was just teaching from my living room, and then I still had to pay a rent of a place that I cannot go because we were not allowed to go more than 5K from our house, and my studio is like 50 minutes from my house. So it was very depressing to do that.
Did you get
And yeah,
any help
like
from
I
the
think like
government?
we got like 1 month free. That's
Wow,
all.
is that it? Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's all. And then actually, like that was just like, and a little bit. I think we had like a little bit of help, but like ridiculous. It wasn't. To be honest, Tribe survived because of that. And the TV program that I won on in Ireland, so the prize was 50,000 euros. and then half of that money
Yes.
went to the studio. So I was
Oh,
very happy with that because I was like, I always say like it was like karma, like I did all this great job and then it just came back, like, and yeah, I feel like that was a really hard time of my life, and not be able to travel because of my passport. That was horrible. It was like I don't want to cancel more people or say no to people or get stuck in the country, or like I just seriously want to see people or have the opportunity to meet others, or so I feel
can
like
you
those two were.
can you just explain that situation? Because people are probably hearing you talking about your passport and they're like, what the hell is she talking about? So can you explain the passport situation just so people are like,
So
what's that?
yeah, so when you are Venezuelan, okay, so you're non-European, and Ireland, you need like visas, okay, so you need permission to stay in Ireland, and well, so that's not a problem. You can apply for a visa like all the time. But in my country, it's very hard to get passports. Like they don't print passports. Like if you lose your passport or your passport is full, okay, it could take you 5 years to get a passport. Okay, so to be honest, I applied for my passport 7 years ago, and I still haven't got it. Like let's put it that way. I actually forgot about it now because I have an Irish passport. But like that makes that because you don't have a new passport, you cannot get stamped, you cannot travel, you cannot put a new visa, so you cannot get out of the country. So that was like really hard because like I had to put my career on hold, and it was really hard because you have to do a lot of paperwork as well. You have to ask for permission somewhere else, so you lose a lot of time where you could be just focusing on other things. And so I feel like that's why I feel right now that all these things happen, and then COVID hit as well. So it's been like 4 years of my life that I was in trouble all the time, and now I feel so happy because I was like I have all these things that I wanted to have, like a passport, like a house, like a future husband. So I'm seriously
How
so happy right now.
how
I'm
did
like,
it
yay!
feel when when the Irish passport finally came through and you were like, oh my God, how did it feel to get the passport?
Ah, to be honest, I even get emotional thinking about it. It was just like my life is gonna start again. Like, it was just I was so happy. I was crying for like a day. I was like, I cannot believe it. And it's so good because not only that, like I have the opportunity now to bring my mom over. So like there's lots of things that changes. And as well my business, I was gonna lose my business too. Like, so yeah, no, it's
Why?
incredible.
Why? Because of COVID, you mean?
Because if you cannot stay in Ireland, like,
Oh,
you
of
cannot
course.
be. Yeah, so I was
God.
actually, if my passport didn't arrive the time I arrived, I would have to leave Ireland. Yeah, so imagine my entire
Wow.
life would go to. So this is how I feel so bad for people like, for example, like from non-Europeans from my country or even Ukraine or Russia. Like there's so many things that people don't know about the situations that we have to go through that you take for granted. When I tell you like, oh yeah, so you lost your passport, you just go and get it in a week, it's back. What? That's just crazy. Like, and then when I talk to non-European people, it's like, oh, we always talk like, so how long till your passport arrive? Oh, I applied like 3 years ago. Oh, I applied for 5, like that's like our conversations. It's just so different. So yeah, it's crazy like how we take for granted some things.
I know, and people here as well, like they're like, "Oh, I booked fast track, but you still have to wait a week to get your passport." I'm like, we don't even realize how fucking amazing that is, really. To get a new passport
Hmm.
within a week is crazy, isn't it? And you're
Yeah.
getting married, so are you looking forward to living married life?
Yeah. Well, I just love Neil so much. So I'm really, really lucky with having first he's hot. Second, he has a big beep. Okay, a third. No,
Is he
he's such a
hot?
gentleman. So,
I haven't noticed.
and then he's usually such a nice guy. Like, and to be honest, I wouldn't have the career I have if it wasn't with me because so many things, as you guys, as you just explained, went wrong. And then he was always there to go like, look, there's always a solution. We have to find a solution.
I
So it's
love
great
that
to have
about him.
someone.
He's kind of
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's
great.
funny
Like,
when people like meet the two of you, I feel like you're the whirlwind and he's like the grounding force that kind of keeps you grounded. Like that's what I really
yeah,
like about Neil. He's just so chilled out, and it's funny because I guess people maybe would find that really odd to see you with someone like that, but it's the same for me and Mitch. Like I'm the whirlwind, I'm the one running around the countries doing all these workshops, working 24 hours, all this stuff. And he's like the grounded one who's got like a normal job. He's the one that kind of holds me back a little bit. It's like, come on, let's remember what you know, what life's all about.
I wouldn't say Neil has a normal job, but like, well, for those that don't know, my fiance is a prison officer. So this is actually kind of a funny story, but like sometimes I come from the studio and I don't know, one girl, you know, had her period and said something, I don't know, whatever. So I just go, oh, Neil, I had a hard day, you know, this girl just said this to me and she probably had her period. And then I just talk about it and I was like, okay, how was your day? Well, this guy tried to kill me, this guy did this, you know, and then did this. And I just go, oh, I think your life is a bit more interesting right now.
Yeah.
So he has amazing stories.
Then you feel terrible that you've moaned about something. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm super excited to come to your wedding. Thank you for coming and finally doing this with me. Oh, I also need to pin you down and sort out dates for your online class of the Pole Destroyers. So I will be messaging you about that. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It was lovely to talk to you, and I can't wait to see you at your wedding. Ah, it's so soon.
Mike, come and say bye. Come on. Mike is here. He wants to say bye. Come on.
Matt.
Up. Mike is here. Mike.
Oh, hi, Matt.
Come on. All the way up.
Oh, God, he's so
Mike
big.
is always here.
Hi, Matt. Lovely to see you.
Okay. See ya, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, I'm always looking for new guests to come onto this show. So if you have a suggestion of anyone that you would love to have on the show, drop me a message, DM me on Instagram on @DanRosenPole and let me know who you'd like to have next. Until next time, bye.
That was all the tea that you can get this week. Join me next